to order the November 8th, 2021 Common Council meeting. Clerk Jones, I believe that there are some statements that you would like to read in regards to the meeting as well as other expectations that we have.
Yes. Good evening, members of the public. For audio quality, we will be muting everyone that's virtually not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for the council as well as yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting on a specific agenda item, please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so will be in the chat. We ask that you provide your full name and address, as those are required for all speakers at in-person meetings. If you would like to be called on during the meeting to provide public input, please insert the following again into the chat, and you will be called on during the relevant time for public input. Insert your full name, the address, and what you would like to speak on, which agenda item, whether you would like to speak for or against the agenda item. You will then be given 5 minutes to speak, and please be sure to unmute yourself prior to giving your remarks.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. I would like to read an additional statement. Disrespectful, rude, or disruptive speech or actions will not be tolerated. Such speech and/or actions, as well as verbal attacks on any person, may result in the person that is speaking to lose his or her turn. Again, we want to make sure that our listening audience and those who are present understands the meeting expectations as well as the link if you plan to join us virtually. At this time, our invocation will be given by Pastor Ryan Yasol of the Southbound City Church, City Connections. We ask that you come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Hi, I am Ryan Yasol from 611 Leland Avenue. Let's pray. God, we come to you as we seek the peace of our city. I thank you for this city and its people, our neighbors. I thank you for moments like tonight that we can come together and discern together how to best care for one another. And I thank you for each of these leaders who's sacrificing their time and energy in that endeavor. God, just bless them, fill them and their families' lives with peace. And in moments like this, we ask for discernment of how we can care for each other well and care for all of the people of our city justly. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you as well. At this time, I ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Davis?
Who's here?
Councilmember Lee is excused. Councilmember Warner?
Present.
Councilmember Wax?
Present.
Councilmember Nisgowsky?
Present.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan?
Present.
Councilmember Hammond?
Present.
Vice President McBride?
Present.
President White?
Present.
8 present.
Thank you. We'll now move to report from Subcommittee on Minutes for the October 11, 2021 meeting. Clerk Jones?
Yes. Report of the Subcommittee on Minutes to the Common Council of the City of South Bend. The subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the October 11th, 2021 meeting and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved.
Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion regarding the Subcommittee on Minutes.
Move for passage.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wax?
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky?
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan?
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond?
Aye.
Vice President McBride?
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. We'll now move to special business. We had 3 items under special business, but the first item was to present an award to the South Bend Venues, Parks, and Arts Department, but the person that was traveling from the state, at the state level, was unable to make this particular meeting. So this award will be given at our Monday, November the 22nd meeting. We'll now move to special business 21-50. Clerk Jones, will you please read that?
2150, a special resolution of the South Bend Common Council acknowledging Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2021.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. I would like to say that we realized that Domestic Violence Month was October, but we were unable to do so, and so that we will be offering this special resolution for your consideration. Bill 21-50, this will be given by Councilwoman Vice President Sharon McBride and myself. Resolution, Bill 21-50, a special resolution of the South Bend Common Council acknowledging Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2021. Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month evolved from the first day of unity observed in 1981 by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, which had the themes of mourning those who died as a result of domestic violence, celebrating those who have survived domestic violence, and connecting those who worked to end domestic violence. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month was launched nationwide in October 1987 as a way to connect and unify individuals and organizations working on domestic violence issues while raising awareness for those issues. And
Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is a sobering reminder of the harm domestic violence inflicts across our country. At a time when the COVID-19 pandemic means that for many survivors, abuse may be compounded by being isolated with an abuser, loss of income, and stress over the virus itself, said United States Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. And whereas locally, HOT, Hear Our Tears, is a nonprofit organization assisting individuals to gain freedom from various types of abuse, bullying, or violence they are experiencing, while also providing education to those interested in learning more about identifying and eradicating abuse, bullying, and violence in the environment. And
whereas HOT, Hear Our Tears is dedicated to increasing efforts in addressing these issues and believes that through cooperation and community empowerment, they can facilitate progress. Now therefore be it resolved by the South Bend Common Council as follows.
the South Bend Common Council acknowledges the contributions of Ms. Tracy Winston, president of HOT Hear Our Tears, and owner of Unique Boutique International LLC, downtown South Bend, for her efforts to solve the problems resulting from domestic violence. The South Bend Common Council remembers all those impacted by domestic violence in every form. The South Bend Common Council encourages all others to take an an affirmative stand against domestic violence. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I would like to see if Ms. Tracy Winston is in the audience. We do ask that you come to the podium, and if you would like to offer comments, we will definitely invite you to do so as well. Make sure that you state your name and your address.
And if there's any of the members that would like to stand with you.
Thank you so much for having us this evening. My name is Tracy Winston Williams, and it's been a long haul with the domestic violence. As you know, the pandemic had risen numbers
For the
in our
record, could you please
community.
state your address?
My address is 1015 West Oak Street in South Bend, Indiana. I was born and raised in South Bend.
Thank you.
So our team is here tonight. We're very grateful that you are acknowledging HOT Hear Our Tears. We have a lot of work to do, and we cannot do it alone. So we're very happy and pleased that you have invited us to be a part of South Bend and to grow the experience of domestic violence and what we can do to help folks in our community, because we need to eradicate domestic violence with education, intervention, and preventative skills. We've been having the meetings for, 9 years now? So we invite the community, and I'm just pleased to be here. This is some of our board members.
Name and address, please.
I'm Elizabeth McLaughlin, and I at 50677 Galaxy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Doreen Henderson, 403 Cushing Street, South Bend, Indiana.
My name is Cindy Cohen. I live at 19009 Layden, South Bend, Indiana.
We want to thank the ladies for all of your work, and at this time, I don't know if any council members, if you would like to offer any comments. If so, please do so. Councilwoman Hammond?
I would like to thank Councilwoman McBride and President White for bringing this forward, and I'd like to thank you ladies and for all of the effort and the energy you put into helping women. It's a very important and serious issue, and our prayers are with you, and we're willing to support in any way. Thank you.
Any other council members? Councilmember Thomas Morgan?
Thank you, Chair, President White. I too just want to add my gratitude and thanks for the service and ministry that you provide to our community. South Bend offers an amazing ecosystem of support for victims of domestic violence, and I'm proud that my own family, my husband helped to start the Family Justice Center over a decade ago, and we too have been involved in the YWCA, and so together we work to support and victims of domestic violence and to break that cycle of violence that's such difficult work. So thank you for continuing your work, and God bless you.
I'll go to Councilman Troy Warner, and then I'll go straight down the road and then come back. Okay.
Thank you, President White, and thank you to Vice President McBride for bringing this. I made a call today over to the Family Justice Center just to get some numbers. I deal with this issue pretty regularly in my, in my day job. But in 2020, there were 1,345 reported cases of domestic violence in the city of South Bend, 1,345, and those are just for the reported cases. This year, there's already 1,233 through the end of October, and so we're on course to even pass that. I was talking with one of the judges the other day. He estimated, we were talking about domestic violence and the severity of it, that approximately 25 to 30% of the homicides in the city are domestic incidents. So there's a severe epidemic going on that needs to be dealt with throughout the city, and some proactive measures taken. And I thank the women for the job they're doing supporting victims, and it's doing great harm to our city, and I thank you for raising the issue.
Thank you. Any other council members would like to make any comments? Okay. Councilwoman Niskoski?
Thank you, President White and Councilwoman McBride, for bringing this forward. The work that you ladies do is so needed in our community, as you just heard the numbers from Councilman Warner. And I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for giving women hope that when they think it's hopeless, because it truly is not. And you empower them to see that. And that is very powerful in itself. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing in our community.
Councilmember Wax?
At the end of many comments, there's not much to add, but I just want to thank you for the great work that you do and keep it up.
Councilmember Davis?
Yeah, I have seen this way too much, and there's never enough that you can say, or even enough that you can do, given the complexity of the issue. There's a lot that's in there when it comes to domestic violence. And what I can say is thank you for your service to our community. I hope that it continues to improve and help those who need the help the most. And if there's anything that we can do, I can do personally, please let me know.
Again, we thank you so much for your work, your commitment, and your dedication. As you have heard from the council members, we're so appreciative of the work that you have done, and we know the work that you will continue to do. We do have some resolutions that we want to present to you, Tracy, and you can share those as well. Okay, so did someone wanted to speak? Ms. Cohen? Okay, please, oh, she wants to take a picture.
That would be nice.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
I just wanted to say just a couple things. I've only known Tracy for, I think, like 2 years now, and I have to say, what she's doing for our community at the grassroots level with no big machine behind her to help her is really pretty amazing. She is very grassroots. She gets into the churches and the community and talks to people individually through her boutique and when she's out in the community doing her service work. And she's launching a community ambassador program this year, and it's just very exciting. She's highly motivated and doing a lot of great things in our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
People want to go down there.
Thank you so much.
Oh, a picture? Awesome, let's do it. I started something. Let's get the whole shebang. Call me. You wanna line up here? Who's taking the picture? Me to take it?
I thought you were going to go to public, so that's why I waited. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'll make a comment. I'll wait till you get up.
Okay, so it's the first one that we've been in person. So.
We'll now move to our special business, and this is Special Proclamation 2151. Clerk Jones, would you please read that? I do believe that Councilmember Henry Davis will be presenting this special proclamation. I don't know who else will be joining you, Councilmember Davis.
Okay. 2151, a special proclamation by the South Bend Common Council commemorating Veterans Day 2021, honoring all veterans and supporting the mission of Get Wet for a Vet, Inc.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I did notice that at-large council member Rachel Thomas Morgan, are you part of the special proclamation?
You have Rachel Thomas Morgan, you have myself,
Okay.
along with Lori Hammond and Sheila Niskowski.
Okay.
They're all signed on.
Okay.
Ladies, you can join me at the podium if you would like. You can read this if you want, because I don't like hearing myself read.
Okay.
And
Go ahead and
also, or I can just
Okay.
do my best through this, and we'll do the pomp and circumstance thing afterwards. So, everybody's comfortable with it, or?
Take it away, Councilman.
Oh, here we go. So if I stutter over this or stumble, help me out now. I would like to ask the organization Get Wet for a Vet to join me at the podium as well. And I think I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves prior to me reading this.
Marvelous. My name is Jim Method. I'm the president of Get Wet for a Vet. Would you like us to include our addresses also?
Yes, please.
10291 Charles Street, Osceola, Indiana.
My name is Elaine Lydeen, Vice President of Get Wet for a Vet, 723 West Catawba Drive, Mishawaka.
Dennis Kovach, 3829 Fernhill Drive, Mishawaka, Indiana.
Jordan Cool, 312 West 7th Street, Mishawaka, Indiana.
And there you have it. Whereas in November 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th as Armistice Day, commemorating the end of World War I. And whereas in 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower changed
Armistice.
Thank you. Armistice Day was it's 2021. It changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day and expanded to commemoration to all veterans in order that a graceful nation might pay appropriate homage to the veterans of all of its wars. And whereas President Eisenhower's vision of Veterans Day remains as sacred today as it was in 1954, to let us solemnly remember the sacrifices of all of those who fought so valiantly, I'm sorry, it's one of those days, valiantly, on the seas, in the air, and the foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom, and let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting and enduring peace so that our efforts should not have been in vain. And whereas locally, Get Wet for a Vet Incorporated embodies the honor due to veterans in its mission statement. We work with all you to benefit the community by helping local veterans who have fought so vigorously for our freedom. And whereas since 2013, Get Wet for a Vet has donated tens of thousands of dollars to veteran-oriented organizations such as Miller's Homeless Veteran Center, the Department of American Veterans, and CVMA, Vets Helping Vets, St. Joseph County, Blue Star Bombs, Michiana 22, Marine Riders, St. Joseph County Department of Veteran Affairs, Volunteer Fund, Combat Veterans 14-3, and Army Riders Chapter 118. And whereas Get Wet for a Vet is currently involved in the planning of the construction of tiny homes, villages for local veterans. Therefore, let it be publicly and proudly proclaimed as follows. Section 1, the sacrifices made by the American veterans should be remembered and honored each and every day, but especially so on the day proclaimed by our nation as Veterans Day. Section 2, at the same time, the sacrifices made by the families of veterans should also be remembered and honored each day and every day. Section 3, the contributions of organizations such as Get Wet for a Vet Incorporated, which supports veterans through both words and deeds should be acknowledged and encouraged. Signed and approved this 8th day of November 2021. City of Southbound, Indiana, County of St. Joseph, and the State of Indiana. Henry Davis Jr., 2nd District, South Bend Common Council Member. Rachel Thomas Morgan, at-large, South Bend Common Council Member. Lori K. Hammond, at-large, South Bend Common Council Member. And Sheila Nizgowski, 6th District, South Bend Common Council Member. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Davis. Is there anyone from the organization that would like to offer comments before I go to the council members?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, okay.
It's easy to speak about something that we have such a passion in helping our community. What an honor to be receiving this from the Common Council. Thank you, truly. A little bit about us. Yeah, we've raised over $300,000 in the last 9 years, of which every penny stays local to local Michiana veterans. That's something we're very proud of. Henry Davis Jr. mentioned the construction of Mishawaka Troop Town, which will be the state of Indiana's first and the fourth in the nation, a tiny house veteran village for homeless veterans. That's something that we just cannot truly. Thank you. But our reach goes a long way. We help dozens of veterans every year, from anything from household furnishings to mortgage payments, utility payments, vehicles. The list goes on and on. Along with the Mishawaka Troop Town, we're working with the Center for the Homeless, where we're going to be putting up a building here within hopefully the next 45 days, to where we can have a collection point for furniture and household items for homeless veterans. When they get residence, they can come to our organization, pick it up from the building, and be self-sustainable. Again, thank you.
No, thank you. Just wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Jim's a good spokesman.
Oh, he's a good spokesman. Okay, well, I'm going to go to council members to see if they would like to add any comments. I'll start with Councilwoman Sheila Nizgowski, who's a veteran herself.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing for our veterans, and thank you, President White. I'd like to thank Councilman Davis for bringing this proclamation to the council. I am a veteran of foreign war. I served in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and so I know what it means, welcome home. And so I know what that day means, and to so many of people in our community. To me, it's one of the most patriotic duties that you can do for your country, is be able to know that you're willing to give the ultimate sacrifice for the country that you love so much. For me, it was coming back here and serving in the manner I am as well. So we just keep serving as you keep serving. So I want to thank you, because I did do some reading up on you. I did look you up. And I know it's just not veterans, that they're families. And a lot of times, so many of us forget the sacrifice their families. They miss the childbirth because they're serving, or the birthdays, the holidays, that you're not there. I know I missed a lot when I served. And those things are so important. And what you're doing for our veterans is important, and reaching out and helping them. I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. I served also with the American Legion. I know some of the Marine Corps riders. So I know what big hearts that you all have, and how much time and effort you put into holding those events, and then giving. It's a lot of work, and then you give it all back. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from our community, and thank you just so much. And welcome home to all of our veterans in our community.
Councilman?
I would also like to thank you, and in honoring what you do, it helps me to honor my father, who was a Navy veteran in World War II, and my brother, who served in Vietnam. So I thank you very much, and I understand the sacrifice, and we appreciate everything that all of you do.
Thank you. Councilman Rachel Thomas Morgan?
Thank you, President White. I too just want to add my deepest gratitude to the work that you do in our community to support our veterans. I have family members, my grandfather served in World War II, and I have my closest cousins and nephews in all branches of military serving in past wars. I know how important it is that they are supported by family and organizations. And in recognizing you this evening, we also acknowledge the many organizations in our community that support veterans, and I know we all work together to do so. I want to say to all our veterans of all branches of military, as we commemorate Veterans Day this Thursday, to thank you. You here, Councilwoman Nitskatsky, for the highest example of service that you provide as a model to all of us, for your sacrifice, for the sacrifice of your families, so that we might live in freedom and enjoy the liberties that we have. May we never take those for granted. That is the best way, I think, we have to honor our veterans and the service that you have given to us and our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before moving to Councilwoman Sharon McBride, I want to make sure that Councilman Troy Warner, you had the T-shirt. I don't know if you wanted to make any comments.
That's a surprise.
It's a great organization. I've been supporting them from a long time, back to the IB when I was with the IBEW, and thank them all for all the work they do for our community. I'm happy to go there, and I always donate my money. Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilwoman McBride?
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your service, and thank you for your dedication to our community and to this country, and making sure that no one is left behind. And I just want to say that I would definitely like to partner with you all. I'm also the executive director of St. Joe County Community Corrections, so I have vets that are in our residential facility or on house arrest, and to connect them with your program and services would be wonderful. So congratulations, and I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilman Eli Wax?
Thank you. Each of us and everyone in our community has I think, a duty to honor the vets for the ultimate willingness to put their life and limb at risk for our country. And your organization, I just want to thank you for not going above and beyond, not just honoring veterans, but helping them when they're most vulnerable. And that's truly doing a service that we all are responsible for doing. So thank you for taking on that important mission, and I want to wish you success in everything you do going forward.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to echo all the words of thank you and gratitude. Sometimes, we may take our freedom, that we have it, but it was brought by a high cost. And the work and the commitment and the work that you've done going into foreign countries, fighting on behalf of our freedom, I know we do not take it lightly. We thank you so much. We honor you because you are due honor, and I can't wait to come and visit that tiny house. So when it's ready, call us and we'll be there, okay?
We're going to follow through. We're going to break ground on May 14th.
Okay. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I don't know if you want to take a picture with Councilman? Oh, yeah, okay, I like you, yeah, okay. Okay, I don't know, Councilman Davis, do you want?
No, I'm not going to belabor it. I was going to tell a story, but we're fine. We're fine. Thank you, Bob, for your help. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Take another picture. Ellie.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get in front of you. we get in the back row. And I really don't think, because I'm gonna have to see your ID. I have to so see your ID.
Okay. Okay. Oh, she goes to her.
We're going to excuse ourselves because we have 3 events this week.
No, you're not excused. Bye-bye.
You know, President White,
Come on.
I first interfaced with them, with Mario Sims, because he was doing some things with his church, and they came to help him out, and he's a veteran as well. But one thing that I remember about working with that organization is when Mr. Willie Williams turned 100 years old. I think he was one of the members at your church that you attend. And they did this big, thing for him. News Center 16, I think, caught it on the news. But God, I mean, the way that they organized, like, all of these different organizations that kind of sort of did the same thing, but they were all veterans, and they had, like, this motorcade, and it was just all motorcycles. You could, like, hear it, like, a mile away. It was just like this roar coming down the street. They came to pick him up. They put him in a really nice convertible. I think it was a Camaro convertible. And he smiled from ear to ear. I mean, he was 100 years old. He was a veteran from, I think, World War II. And so it was just one of those things, like, you'll never probably see ever again, given his age, and an assignment, and just, what they were able to present to him. Did this big shindig over at, I think it was American Legion, 357 on Mayflower, or is that Grant Road? One of the two. We all know where it's at. It's behind 7-Eleven. And so it was just, like, amazing what they were able to accomplish with the, in a short amount of time, but also in a way to honor someone, this one individual. And they also did it again when he passed away. And it was just like they were just there, and they were there ready to serve. They were there to honor. I mean, they presented a token, a gift to the family as well. It was just like they were constantly there over and over again. I just think that those guys are awesome. I really do.
Thank you so much, too, as well. I'll now entertain a motion to resolve into the Committee of the Whole.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion, and it's been second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Can we vote? I'm sorry, Troy, we have to do virtual.
Yep.
I-
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Troy's
now-
fault.
Clerk Jones, we do a roll call?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Committee of the Whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council's meeting where bills are given a second reading and public hearing. I wish to share with you that bills that were given a second reading and public hearing have been given a first reading and set for a committee meeting and public hearing prior to this evening's meeting. In addition, you will hear from a chairperson of the Committee of the Whole, or from the committee, where the bill was discussed and results of their discussion. If the proposed ordinance is a zoning ordinance, a report from a staff member will be given. In all other situations, the formal presentation on the proposed ordinance will immediately follow the committee report. The formal presentation shall be untimed. Our first bill is Bill Number 110-21. Can I have a motion, do I hear a motion to hear the substitute bill?
So moved.
Second.
Clerk Jones, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. Could you please give Bill 110-21 a second reading?
Yes. 11021, public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for property located at the southwest corner of Adams Road and St. Joseph Valley Parkway, Councilmanic District Number 1.
Thank you. Is there a committee report?
Yes, Chair. The Zoning and Annexation Committee met on November 3rd, and we bring Bill 110-21 to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Molinar, I see you're present. Would you like to state your name and address for the record?
Yes, thank you, Council. Joseph Molnar, zoning specialist with offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. Today before you is a rezoning from Neighborhood Center to I Industrial, and this is for property located at the southwest corner of the Adams Road and St. Joseph Valley Parkway, or commonly known as the Bypass. A little bit of background on this site. This was annexed into the city in the early to mid-2000s with the intention of making it somewhat of a mixed-use Heritage Square type development for the northwest side of the city. That's why it was brought in at the time under a PUD with a mixed-use character. The whole point was to try to get an interchange at the Adams Road and Bypass. That interchange did not materialize and the development did not materialize, but it was left annexed into the city. When the zoning ordinance was established in 2020, the new zoning ordinance, we did away with PUDs, and this was assigned the closest zoning district to it, which was the neighborhood center, traditionally mixed-use district. This doesn't really make sense out on the far northwest side of town. Currently, the land is agricultural, and it's been used for agricultural use since the annexation. As you can see, it's also on the very edge of the city. The properties to the west and the south are actually in the unincorporated county. The development before you, there are two different items going on. The first is AEP is planning on installing a substation and is putting transmission lines towards that substation. That can happen regardless if the zoning goes through. They are requesting to rezone to I Industrial because they wish to construct a new service center, which includes approximately 98,000 square foot office and garage building and 15,000 square foot detached vehicle storage building. And then the substation will be located at the northeast corner of the site. AEP has submitted an updated plan to the city, which addressed some of the concerns that staff had and that members of the public have presented to them. Primarily, they pushed the building farther to the east, and they also changed the direction of the transmission lines to push those to the east as well. Primarily at that meeting, the committee meeting that Council Member Hammond referenced, 3 written commitments were established by staff or proposed by staff, which we think should meet most of the concerns, or at least some of the concerns that the surrounding residents have. The first of those written commitments is that the western buffer shown on the site plan presented of approximately 275 feet to the fence and 35 feet to the building shall remain in place with no buildings located within the buffer area. So essentially nothing in between the building and the western property line. The second written commitment is a 6-foot earthen berm shall be provided in the buffer zone. White pines, say 12.5 feet on center, shall be installed on top for the portion not located under the transmission line easement. For the portion within the easement, a low-growth alternative shall be used. So a berm placed north-south along the western edge of the property. And then the final written commitment that staff is proposing is the western edge of the north-south AEP transmission line easement shall be located a minimum of 145 feet from the western property line. That is this dashed black line that comes in here. So essentially, once those transmission lines come into the site, they go further east and then north and south, as opposed to the first time we saw this where they just ran north and south and blew up all the tree cover that was there. With those written commitments in place, staff feels like this is the best situation to go forward with the rezoning, as it does provide some protection to the neighbors. As we know, the substation will go in no matter what zoning decision is made. Based on the information provided prior to the public hearing, the staff recommend the Plan Commission send the rezoning petition to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation. The Plan Commission sends it to you with a favorable recommendation as well, subject to those 3 written commitments that you see on the screen. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I also know Angela Smith is online as well. And AEP, I presume, is online as well.
I would just like to thank you for working with the residents and for AEP working with the residents to come up with these written commitments. And thank you, Chair Hammond, for having that committee meeting. I believe that it is agreeable with the neighbors as much as they possibly, it's going to go in regardless, but I am very happy to see these written commitments, and I believe that will help stem some of the issues that they are having with this going in.
The other piece, just so it's read into the record, that these commitments shall run with the land and be binding on the owner. So these are not things that will change.
Yes, the written commitments go with the property because they go with the rezoning, so.
Perfect.
Yep, Councilwoman Tomas Morgan?
Question.
Or-
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I also just want to note at the committee meeting referenced, I appreciate very much that Angela said that she would commit to address some of the traffic signage that residents had brought up at that meeting. And she committed to address with our city engineer and county engineer Dillon Road and Orange Road issues and some signage that the residents had recommended there. So appreciate that. Appreciate the residents bringing that suggestion to the forefront and for Angela following up on that.
Any other council members?
Let's have comments after.
And there was just before we move on, there was a traffic study. Has that been completed yet?
I don't believe that's been completed. That'll have to be completed before issuing of building permits, though, I presume.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of this bill? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Wendy Wolf. I live at 51180 Orange Road, and I think that this is the best situation, and so I'm really wanting to thank everyone here for all of their time and effort to help us negate some of this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor of the bill?
There's no one virtually that is expressing interest to speak in favor of this bill.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of the bill? Is there anyone online wishing to speak in opposition?
There's no one virtually wishing to speak in opposition of this bill.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Jones. Then at this point, we're going to close the public hearing on Substitute Bill 1110-21. Council members wishing to make a statement. I believe Councilman Davis, you had a statement?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank Chair Hammond, members of this council that participated, those from the public as well. What I asked for a couple of weeks ago was a bit unorthodox or more so against the culture or how we've been operating, but it was needed that we had that conversation at a very high level and lengthy, I may add, so that everyone that is going to be impacted by what's happening over there will have a full understanding of what's going on. And I really believe if the homeowners and those who live in the area felt like that this wasn't their, was going to be a great quality of life after this is installed or while this is going to be installed, there was an opportunity for this council to say, you know, stop, no, hold off. And so that's what I was really interested in hearing. And the reason why I'm like that about this particular issue, and so many others, but this one in particular, is because the west side was impacted by a couple stations that were being installed. New lights, new towers and new substations for electrical units. And so many of those members and those people that were in those areas were impacted. And now we have like these huge, like, poles, I guess you would call them poles, that are down Western Avenue that are like really unsightly, that look like that they shouldn't be there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I didn't want to see that happen to someone else. I really didn't, and I felt like that, given my history of what that is and how that works out, I think that everyone deserves to see, have to say so in what happens in their neighborhood and what it looks like later on. And so you got your say-so, you said what you wanted, and you feel, I guess you're happy with it. I guess that's probably the best way of saying it. And so I look forward to this, you know, helping out with future development in the future in your area.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other statements from council members? Councilwoman Hammond?
Thank you. The other thing, just to point out for public record, is the substation is not something that the council can approve. It is going in under eminent domain and will occur regardless of what the council chooses to do. This has been a very emotional undertaking for the folks that live out in this area. I appreciate Angela and Joe were willing to work as hard as they have to find a solution that actually satisfies some of the needs of the residents. So I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to make a statement from the council? Okay, then at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion regarding Substitute Bill 1110-21.
Move for favorable recommendation.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and it has been duly seconded. Clerk Jones, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Wax?
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky?
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan?
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond?
Aye.
Vice President McBride?
Aye.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
President White?
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. Bill 1110-21 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. So we're going to move on now to Bill number 125-21. Clerk Jones, will you please give that bill a second reading?
Yes. 12521, public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 2614 Ford Street.
Thank you. Is there a committee report?
Yes, Bill 125-21 this afternoon came before the Zoning and Annexation Committee and comes to the committee as a whole with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. I see Mr. Molnar is back again.
Back again. Joseph Molnar, zoning specialist, offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. Before you is a special exception request for property located at 2614 Ford Street. This is to allow for a duplex or a 2-unit structure in a U1 Urban Neighborhood 1 zoning district. This is on the west side of South Bend off Ford Street, about 1.5 blocks west of Olive. This is the site currently today. There was a house on the structure till 2019 when it was demolished. It is actually bounded on both the east and the south by alleys. Just some background on the larger neighborhood and census tract. The census tract has lost population for the least last 2 decades, since 2000. One interesting thing to note, though, is it did gain households from 2010 to 2020. So we did see an uptick of about 75 households in the last decade. So there is a demand to come to the neighborhood. The population still shrink, though, because family sizes continue to get smaller. The petitioner has submitted this site plan and this rendering of the duplex as it would be constructed. It's a very traditional two-story duplex with one unit on each floor. And here is an up-close of that rendering. It was the city staff's opinion that reactivating a vacant lot and adding development to the neighborhood should be of benefit. It is in line with the neighborhood as on Ford Street, as indicated by here. There are a couple already small multi-family properties already along Ford Street, so this isn't necessarily out of character with anything in the neighborhood. It went to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a favorable recommendation from staff, and the Board of Zoning Appeals is sending it to you as well with a favorable recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I did see that the petitioner is online as well.
Thank you. Does the petitioner wish to make any comments at this time? If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Tim Hawkins. I'm with Jeff Jenks Law, 450 East 96th Street, Suite 500, Indianapolis, Indiana. Just want to say again, and I don't just say this to everybody, but I'm glad I get to say it to the entire council, that I'd speak and work with a lot of plan commissions and their staff, and I just got to say what a pleasure it's been. By far my best experience here in South Bend. So thank you all for that. Thank you, Mr. Molnar, specifically, and I appreciate your consideration today, both Chairman Harriman earlier and Madam President. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council members, do you have any questions at this time? Councilman Warner, do you have any questions? Okay, then at this point, thank you, Mr. Molnar and Mr. Hawkins. We're going to move to the public hearing portion. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor of Bill 125-21?
Jason Benicki, 3822 West Ford Street. Kind of like Joe said, that neighborhood and kind of a whole lot of the west side has kind of this rich tradition of duplexes and quad housing and mixed use of, business on the first floor, one or two apartments on the second floor. It's kind of nice to see that they're trying to bring some of that back instead of sticking to just, single family, single lot kind of thinking. It's nice to see some ways to try and make housing more affordable and repurpose some of these vacant lots. So I think this is a great idea.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of Bill 125-21?
There's no one virtually that is expressing interest to speak in favor of Bill 125-21.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Jones. At this point, then, we're going to see if there's anybody wishing to speak in opposition.
There's no one wishing to speak in opposition of this bill as well.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Jones. At this point, the public hearing on Bill 125-21 is now closed. Council members, do you wish to make any statements regarding this bill? Okay, then I would just like to make a statement myself and say that I am the 6th District Councilwoman, and I really appreciate this project coming to the west side of South Bend. It is a fit for the neighborhood. I did talk with some of the residents and some of the business owners there, and they're very excited about this development. So thank you so much, Mr. Hawkins, for bringing this to the west side of South Bend. And let me know if you have any other lots you may be interested in over there. I could probably point you out to a few if you would like some guidance in that department. So at this time, if there's no other statements, Mr. Warner, Troy Warner, would you like to make a statement?
I just wanted to thank the petitioner for his investment in the city and for taking this effort and building the duplex. And I wish you all the success, and hopefully we can see a lot more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman Warner. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion regarding Bill 125-21.
Chair, I move that we send Bill 125-21 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion, and it has been seconded. Clerk Jones, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Niskowski.
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond.
Aye.
Vice President McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. Bill 125-21 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. The last bill that we have, is Bill 128-21. Clerk Jones, would you please give that bill a second reading?
Yes. 12821, public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1710 North Turtle Creek Drive.
Thank you. Is Mr. Molnar or the petitioner present, please?
Good evening, council. For the last time, Joseph Molnar, zoning specialist, offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. I'll keep it brief because I know you've all seen this a couple times now. This is the proposed redevelopment of Campus View Apartments, or otherwise known as Turtle Creek. You saw this last month and approved the special exception for shared housing. Going back and looking at it, we noticed that part of the legal description did not include this section of Campus View, so we're just going back to make sure everything is up and legally sound. This is an example of what the buildings currently look like. They were constructed in the late 1960s, and as used as student housing, you can understand 50 years of being used as student housing. There's been quite a wear and tear on them. Shared housing allows for up to, or no more than 4 individuals that are not related to live in one apartment unit. Our definition of family currently caps that at 2, so this allows for there to be up to 4 individuals. The site is already used as student rentals, but because they're clearly demolishing the site and rebuilding, they would lose that grandfathered status and have to reapply for the shared housing. They've submitted a couple different site plans that we're still working through, but they've committed to following the vast majority of the zoning ordinance, and we've been happy with the progress that we've made on the different types of site plans. Here is a proposed rendering of what the site could look like. With that, the staff sent it to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a favorable recommendation, and the Board of Zoning Appeals is sending it to you with a favorable recommendation as well. There was essentially 0 change from the petition that was requested last month that you did approve. Be happy to answer any questions, and I know the petitioner is here as well.
And just to add, that did come before zoning and annexation this afternoon and comes to the committee of the whole with a favorable also.
Thank
Fine,
you.
we just
Thank you,
drop that in there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hamlin. Would the petitioner present like to make a statement, please?
Thank you so much. George Lepignotis on behalf of the law firm of Krieg DeVault 4101, Edison Lakes Parkway, Mishawaka, Indiana. My partner, Stephen Studer, came before you last month to tell you the details of the project. I think he was very thorough. He usually is. We're sorry to waste your time tonight to have to come back and do this again, but a mistake was made in how it was publicized, so we wanted to be sure that it was on the up and up and legally correct. So it was advertised properly with all legal descriptions, and this is the final piece of the puzzle. So again, thank you for your time and consideration, and I failed to answer most questions. I am pinch hitting tonight, so I'll do the best I can.
Okay, thank you. Is there any council members who have a question? Councilman Warner? No? Okay, doesn't appear that anybody has any questions, so you must have did a very good job.
It's the best 3 sentences I've ever uttered in my life. Thank you. By the way, I don't want that other attorney from Indianapolis to be the only one to say the zoning department is awesome. Very easy to work with, so thank you.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to move to the public portion hearing. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to speak in favor of Bill 128-21?
There is no one from the public wishing to speak in favor of this bill.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition?
There is no one wishing to speak in opposition as well.
Okay, thank you. Then at this point, the public hearing on Bill 128-21 is now closed. Council members, do you wish to make any statements regarding the bill? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion regarding Bill 128-21.
I move that we send Bill 12821 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Okay, there has been a motion and it's been duly seconded. Clerk Jones, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you, Clerk Jones. Bill 128-21 will be sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation. So I will now entertain a motion to rise from the committee of the whole and report back to the full council.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Clerk Jones, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. The full council is now back in session. This is the portion of our meeting where bills are given a third reading and action is taken regarding bills that were heard during the committee of the whole. At this time, Clerk Jones, will you please give third reading to Bill 110-21?
11021, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for property located at the southwest corner of Adams Road and St. Joseph Valley Parkway, Councilmanic District Number 1.
Thank you. This bill has been accepted as a substitute as amended under the committee of the whole. Councilwoman Nisgowsky, is there a recommendation from the committee of the whole regarding substitute bill 110-21?
Yes, President White, substitute Bill 110-21 was sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
I will now entertain a motion regarding substitute bill 110-21.
I move for passage.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Substitute bill 110-21 has passed. Clerk Jones, will you please give third reading to bill 125-21?
12521, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 2614 Ford Street.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nisgowsky. Is there a recommendation from the committee of the whole regarding bill 125-21?
Yes, President White, 125-21 was sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
I would entertain a motion regarding this bill. And that's bill 120.
Move for passage.
Second.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Tomas Morgan,
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond,
Aye.
Vice President McBride,
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 125-21 has passed. Clerk Jones, will you please give third reading to bill 128-21?
12821, third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1710 North Turtle Creek Drive.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nisgowsky, is there a recommendation from the committee of the whole regarding bill 128-21?
Yes, President White, Bill 128-21 was sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
I will now entertain a motion regarding bill 128-21.
Move for passage.
Second.
Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wax,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond.
Aye.
Vice President McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. Bill 128-21 has passed. We do not have any resolutions. We'll now go to bills first reading. Clerk Jones, will you please give a first reading to Bill 130-21?
130-21, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Chapter 20, Article 8 of the South Bend Municipal Code to address truck routes through the city and the rules and regulations of trucks and large vehicles.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to send Bill 130-21 to Public Works and Property Vacation set for committee, public hearing for November the 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk Jones, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wax.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond.
Aye.
Vice President McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
President White.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. Is there any unfinished business? Council members, Councilwoman Hammond?
Thank you, President White. Now that we have made our way through the budget process predominantly, I'd like to ask the council to refocus our energies on the CRB board member nominations. Almost 2 months ago, I sent out emails to the district council members, and I know we've all been really busy, but I did not get a response regarding some of the people of interest amongst those that have applied in your district. So again, if we could just all, now that the director job is being posted, if we can kind of double back and place our energies back toward the board and getting those positions identified, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other unfinished business? I will now go to new business. I would like to make the announcement that our last meeting for this calendar year will be Monday, December the 11th, 2021, and this has been our practice that we will only have one meeting in December. Would like to also say that at the March 22nd meeting, I will not be in town, and Councilwoman Vice President, I'm sorry, March. I wish, it's November, okay. November the 22nd, 2021, I would be out of town, and Vice President McBride would be in the chair, but also the dates for the 2022 council meetings will be available, and that the council will have opportunity to see those dates, after which they will be posted on our website. Is there any other new business? Councilman Davis?
Yeah, I just want to invite everyone out to another town hall meeting that I'm hosting. This one will be at the Charles Martin Youth Center on Lincoln Way West, this coming Wednesday from 6 to 8. We're still talking about affordable housing. We'll have a panel full of experts, actually, along with some developers as well as some contractors. So I think it will be a great opportunity for the public as well as council members to come out and take part. You will be receiving a press release tomorrow sometime about it as well.
Thank you. Is there any other new business? Seeing none, we'll go to the privilege of the floor. Is there anyone present wishing to speak under privilege of the floor, or is there anyone virtually wishing to speak under privilege of the floor?
I don't see anyone virtually that is expressing interest to speak on privilege of the floor.
Thank you. Is there anyone present wishing to speak under privilege of the floor? Seeing that there is no one, this meeting stands adjourned.
Yeah, right.
Man.
Thank you, President White.
President White.
Yeah, right.